Hello and welcome back to second guide in grand form maps for the tournament. Today we'll be covering the basics on how to attack and defend Alexandria or Arcosia. So before we do get started, this is a Greek settlement, so recommend picking a tortoise faction like Carthage, Macedon, Seleucid, Athens, Epirus, Sparta. All these factions have these siege equipments called tortoises, and they can tear down these walls a lot easier, and you can kind of make bigger openings, which are needed for developing more intense attacks. Yeah, but the basics for how this attack is going to go is you pretty much tear down the entire wall from here to like here. You kind of push in. It's going to be a little fight here. You're going to keep pushing this way. You want to, if you're attacking, you want to try and take control of this tower as fast as possible. You know, you want to like fully, not even just neutralize. You want it as yours. And as defenders, you want to try and hold this tower as long as possible. Usually the early defense is going to be something like this. But then, you know, as attackers set up a tower wall here, they blow down all these walls. You're exposed to sword side, so you don't really want to stay committed here too long. And then, so from there, the defense usually ends up falling back to something like this. This is very viable, and something kind of like holding the gatehouse. And then, so this is where the taking the tower becomes very important. So once you take this tower, it forces the defenders to fall back behind the Colosseum. And then they usually still will hold this because it's a double gatehouse tower, and it's a very decently strong position to hold. Usually this wall doesn't stay down, or you know, the kind of towers protect them a little bit from sword side. You know, they can just kind of angle too, so you're not that exposed, and you know, you can get slingers on the wall here, slingers back here. It's just a really good fight for the defenders. And then once the defenders do eventually fall back to here and here, it usually turns up into kill boxes like this. So again, just good for Pila sword side and whatnot. But yeah, before you get into game, just turn off fire at will on all your units that are important. Turn off formation tech, turn on guard mode on everything. Turn off fire at will for all units with targetable Pila and all the skirmishers and artillery. And yeah. So main thing is you're gonna want 3 tortoises here. People like to do a small like mini tower wall, like kind of right here. A, just to kind of absorb ammo from this air tower, and B, just to prevent slingers from harassing you. So a little mini tower wall here. Usually 2 or 3 towers is enough. Also, it's helpful to have a tower wall here because people like taking a tower and landing just so they can secure this. Don't immediately land. You kind of want to wait until you're making some progress. You know, when you're kind of engaged here. People just like landing here because having a Thureos up on the wall firing sword side Pila into units that are fighting here is devastating. So having kind of tanky, usually like a Sam Knight or a Thorax is really good at landing. It's tanky. It can grind a good while. And yeah, it'll kind of stop the influx of any units trying to go up and down the wall. The rest of these torts, I might have gone overkill. I think I got like 10 torts. I think you only need 8 or 9. You don't need this many. A little bit of overkill.
Infantry, happy to serve the people.
And also on city maps, your siege towers have scorpions on them. You can see these boys are firing away. I'll give us another volley. There you go. So if you're a defender, it's always helpful to take a cheap unit, throwaway unit that you don't care about, and just stretch them as thin as possible along the wall so they cover as much distance so they can absorb the scorpion tower ammo. Because you don't want a unit like So you have like a hoplite sitting here, and then it gets spotted by the scorpion towers, and it just starts getting shreked. That's why you just put a throwaway unit on the wall, stretch it as thin as possible, and let it absorb everything.
Four-axe swordsman!
Alright, so when attack breaking torts, never do them side by side, otherwise they will glitch out. And when one's attacking, don't even have this one like near the wall or like up close in its face, because it still will glitch out. So while your tort next to you is attacking, make sure this one is like kind of farish away. You don't want it. Like, if that tort was up here, even if it wasn't attacking the wall down, if it was near it while these two torts are going, this would get glitched, and you don't want that.
Ready and waiting.
So never hit torts that are side by side. You want to keep a space between them to prevent glitching. This tower wall, you kind of want to move it like this. Here's mainly just a lot of
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Some people like it here, some people like it here. So usually right here is good. You want to try and block this gatehouse stuff from slinging at your stuff down here, so a tower wall there does the trick. Some people like it here because they don't tear any of this down. I like to tear this all down. It just opens up the map a lot more, makes it much more friendly for your slingers. Now, with your ballista, what I would recommend doing is trying shooting down at least one or maybe even both of these arrow towers. What you want to do is go in here and aim for the corners, because when you aim for the corners, you have the chance for the ballista ball to ping pong around, and it will do double the damage. You know, try and get as many hits as possible. But since, you know, if the defenders might hold like this or something like this, right, not giving up the double arrow tower, breaking these two is a great advantage to you. Or at least breaking one is a great advantage still, you know.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Also, if your unit is attacking on a tort, don't let it get attacked, because once the wall is at like 63, I think, and your unit drops it, the unit gets off the tort, then the wall, it cannot be broken by that tort. Oh, also turn formation attack out.
Attack you,
The walls are breached.
Swordsman! Move that tower! Get that tower moving!
On this map, one thing you don't really have to worry about is a sally out, because to sally out on this map, you have to come all the way out. You have to walk all the way down this path into like this hill that the attackers can control, and you know, or just kind of they can be like sitting like this, and like this, and yeah, sallying out on this map is very difficult. So if you're an attacker, you don't really have to worry about one.
Militia! Advance at speed!
Now, another thing people like to do, usually it's for this section of the wall, is, I'll show it off right here, is if you have a faction with good slingers, what you do is, okay, so you see how when you normally attack a wall, you have all these torts in the way, right? These torts, if I put a slinger right here, they would block a lot of the slinger shots. So what you can do is, we'll show it off right here, is once the wall gets to 93% health, you dismount the tortoise, you remount it, and then you walk it back. And what that does is then you get the last two hits with artillery, and you break it down, and then you have this open area without all these tortoises that you can just park slingers in and just kind of frontally shoot anything. So I'll show you how it's done here.
Ready for orders! Put your backs into it! Archers! To the archery! For the gods of Olympus! Advance at speed!
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units. We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Melee infantry at your command.
That's at 93. Dismount,
In service of the
remount,
people. Swords.
and then you walk it back.
Quick march.
Because once the wall fully breaks, you can't remount the torch again. Torch
Four
is
axe
like burnt.
swordsmen.
So you have to wait till it's 93 and then you walk it back.
Double time.
This poor thorax is getting blasted. In the meantime, I'll kind of showcase the archer fight, how it go in the early game stages. The AI
One of our units has
stop
used all its
harassing
ammunition.
archers. Okay, so defenders, you can usually have archers sort of like here,
We have discovered the enemy's
Here.
hidden units.
here, early game, and then kind of here. So if you kind of have archers here, you kind of want to stop archers kind of that are in this area and this area, because if defenders do hold early like this, which is how what the AI is doing surprisingly, they can get sword sight. So you want to stop these archers, and to do that, you usually have to kind of finesse it. People tend to come to this side. This is why this tower wall is helpful. It's something to hide behind and then pop out and then shoot those archers right there. Kind of archers that are kind of here and here, it will be the job of person who's right here. They will have to just kind of sit here. That's why tower wall kind of like this. I did a little bit wrong. Tower wall like that is more helpful. But you have, again, it's all this open ground for you to just sit and shoot back. And then another person, or not, it could be the same person, but another unit of archers should be responsible for breaking the sword side kind of hold by just chilling here, and then they can just shoot all this stuff. This is all sword side. Anything that holds up here early is all sword side, so you probably have a designated unit of archers to break that. And then, you know, you have something kind of fighting the archers that are going to be here and here. Oh yeah, this is done. You can go back in normal speed. Break that wall. Oh, it's the wrong one. Oh my god. Page up, page down to change ballistas, by the way. That ballista that was on previously didn't have the angle to shoot this wall. So boom. So
The
if you
walls are
imagine
breached.
if we do it all along this wall, how much better that would be, you know, all along this wall, and you just put slingers here and see it's all this open area, right? There's no ugly turrets getting in the way, then you can just start blasting people. So if you develop the attack correctly, you can easily break the preliminary hold of like that and kind of that, to then where the defenders usually fall back to this. This is more of an infantry fight, and if you do break it, then you have the slingers out here, and all these are pulled. All these are pulled, and the slingers are a big help. But then once it kind of comes to this, the big focus, you have to try and capture this. And then if you do capture this, it kind of forces the hand of all of the defending units to either fight underneath this air tower, meaning they're constantly getting shot by this, or they fall back to here and here. Now when it comes to kind of this point, it's do you want to either contest the kill box, or do you want to try and kind of push the more open fight? That's just wherever you feel most comfortable doing. The kill box can be really broken when they have a Pila faction, you know, like this and this. If your unit turns this way to fight something here, the Pila faction just blasts any the Rayo's units will just blast you. If you want to fight here, it'll be tricky because they have these walls and slingers and stuff. The best thing, so it's just up to you. And then if you want to push archers in, this is a good spot early to
One of
put
our
archer in
units has
here.
used all its
That
ammunition.
stuff that's kind of all the way back here. And then eventually, once you make more ground, push archers kind of in here. This street becomes good for the defenders to archer fight in. It's a nice street. They can move back and forth, just be stretched out nice and thin. So having archers here and kind of eventually even here, but here it's like a more narrow choke point. You can kind of get focused down by all the archers kind of here. Here they'll probably have archers too. So those archers can kind of have to get contested from outside and inside. But yeah, that's kind of eventually what the attack and or defense boils down to is going to be here, here, and here. And the early game here, and then kind of mid game, and possibly could last to the late game, but here. And the VP camp rules, you know, a maximum 3 units per player behind, like, I think it was something like this that we drew. So a total of 9 units can be behind these lines fighting. And, that's pretty much it. The basics on how to develop an attack on Alexandria. Also, last few things. This Coliseum is destructible. So it's usually helpful when the defenders start falling back. You know, they're going to have to funnel through these tight choke points. You aim for the Coliseum because it's destructible and it kind of has a hitbox like this much around it. And so anything in that area, the units right there will die. See it break. You know, my ballista was accurate. Oh my days. We did get a nice hit on that. Come on. Come on. I should probably be using standard shot too, because standard shot's more accurate than flaming shot, but I'm too lazy to change it. See that crumbling? See all these units back here? They just died. That's because this thing crumbled. And did we get anything else? No, looks like that was it. But yeah, this thing has a pretty gnarly hitbox of like this much around it. So anything standing there, and when this thing crumbles, will die. But yeah, that's about the basics on how to attack Alexandria. And this was a pretty simple video. I recommend trying to practice some of these concepts, using these concepts in siege practice to learn them better. You know, if you have any questions, just ask anyone, any veteran, and they will gladly help you out. But yeah, good luck.